Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, my name is Lisa Schultz. I am here in Los Angeles, California today. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I've been in LA about 12 years now with my husband and our two kids, but I very much consider myself a Midwesterner. That's a big part of my identity, me and my husband as well. Wellness, nutrition, and fitness has always been a part of my life since I can remember. Even as a little girl, I was always doing sports and taking walks in nature. I always envisioned myself living somewhere in the mountains and in nature. And I got very interested in it. Even early on in high school, I started reading books on nutrition and fitness, and I have two siblings that weren't really into the same things. It really felt so ingrained in me from such a young age. My family is very academic and believes in education. And so that was always instilled in us from a really young age, coming from my grandfather and my parents, to read a lot of books. And so even from a young age, that's really where my interest stemmed from. And so whenever I was reading books, it always started on wellness in some capacity as a young kid, and being outside and finding little trails and pretending I was, somewhere exotic or interesting, even as a little kid. As I got older, I went to college in Arizona, first time being in the mountains out of the Midwest, which was really cool. And I was finally living in a place that I felt like was really authentic to me. I even then studied abroad in Australia, another place that's known for its nature. And that's when I got really into wellness on another level and nutrition, and going to the gym every day and learning about how food affects the body. It really just felt like my calling. And still, I'm 40, almost 41 years old, and I have never looked anywhere else. It has always been my one true passion. And so when I was in college studying, as soon as I left school, I went and got certified right away to become a personal trainer and nutritionist. And right out of school, out of college, I started at private studio doing personal training and some nutrition coaching. And I did that for a few years. I even started my own business around 24 years old, which was pretty young, I feel, but with Gertrude and her history as, such an entrepreneur, I think in some of us, it's just instilled in who we are. And the business was called The Wedding Trainer. And I just had this idea that the wedding industry was this billion-dollar industry, and brides were doing anything to stay in shape. And I felt like this would be a great marketing concept for me. So I started The Wedding Trainer back in Chicago, Illinois. I moved back home to the Midwest after school, and I started The Wedding Trainer, training brides to be in bridal parties and grooms and doing nutrition for them, helping them look good for their big day. And I was doing that for a while in Chicago until about when I was 27 years old. So I'd been doing that for about 3 years. And then when I was 27, I got in a really bad car accident. I actually was hit by a car crossing the street in Chicago in a really bad intersection. I was just walking across the street. A car came around the corner, hit me and I broke a bunch of bones. I had to go into emergency surgery. And as someone where movement was my life, it was all I knew. Like I said, even from a young age, as a young girl, I loved wellness. And I didn't know now what my future held for me. That was the intersection of my life, this car accident. It changed the trajectory of where my life was going. At the time, it felt like the worst thing that could have happened to me. Now that I'm past it, and it's been almost 14 years, I can see how much better I am from it, and how, in a way, it's really made me better at my job because of the car accident. But at the time, I became really hopeless and just depressed. I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair. I had broken my femur and my hip bone, so I really couldn't move at all. And I was in physical therapy. I had to do follow-up surgeries. I had to learn how to walk again. I had also broken my arm. So the right side of my body was just really traumatized from this car accident. So I spent about 2 years rehabbing. And it was when I was in this rehabilitation program with occupational therapists and physical therapists and my orthopedic surgeon and going for mental health therapy that I was just getting so confused by what I should be doing for my life or for my rehab. And I saw this gap in the system that, there needs to be a more holistic view of the human body for people that are going through wellness. Whether you don't have to be in a traumatic accident to really need someone to look at your whole body. Now, this was back in 2011. Things are a lot more holistic now in 2025, but back in 2011, it wasn't like this. And that's when I then created my next business, brought out of this accident. I had to take some time to rehab. And at that point, I met my husband and we moved out to LA. And I started working at a physical therapy clinic. And I brought this idea to a physical therapy clinic. And I said, you should hire me as wellness director, as a personal trainer. We should get in someone to do massage therapy. They'll work with the physical therapist as well, and we'll put them on an anti-inflammatory nutrition program. And it was really this 360 view of wellness for the first time. It was starting to pop up. And that way, when people came into our clinic and they were hurting, I was able to give them what I didn't have, which was a team that was able to come and look at their body from all sides and be like, the physical therapist sees this and the massage therapist sees this and I see it in this way, and we could all put our heads together to help this one person. And that really started motivating me and put me on this journey to want to help everyone, but really a lot of women, in a more holistic approach. I ended up leaving the PT clinic because I was getting so excited about this idea. And I felt I just wanted to do it on my own. I also missed my brides, so I started taking up brides again. But I launched again a new business, which really focused on a holistic view of the body. So when people would come to me and they'd want to lose weight, I would say, well, hold on, let me check out your body's alignment, and let's look at your food, and let's look at your whole body as one, and then you're going to feel better. And I just saw my clients, and the way that they were feeling about their bodies was on a different level. It was no longer just about weight loss or getting abs. It was really like, how do you feel every day when you wake up? Don't you want to wake up and feel amazing? And I was able to give that to my clients. And that set me on this whole other journey of feeling like I need to reach even more people. How can I help more people? I ended up having a daughter. I went through pregnancy and postpartum, and then the pandemic hit and I couldn't do personal training anymore. So I had to think again. And as a serial entrepreneur, I had this new idea that, okay, well, now I'm going to focus on an online course. If I do this online course, I can reach even more people. And so the last couple of years, I have now been putting everything I know and I've learned and I've experienced as a personal trainer, as a nutritionist, working in the PT clinic, as a mom, as a woman, as someone that went through an injury. And I put it all into a course so that people around the world now can come online, and I'm able to teach them principles of how to just wake up and feel good every day without all the chaos of what you're reading on the news and social media, just really basic holistic steps like getting in your water and eating enough vegetables. And I break it down in such a way that makes it really doable. Even though I live in Los Angeles, I kind of think of this as like a little bubble because people here, wellness is really common here, but in the rest of the world, it's a true luxury. And it's hard for me to want, when I know that people everywhere else in the world, they don't get that luxury of getting those private coaches all the time. And so if they can have more access to online help, even AI, I think is great. That's giving more healthcare and holistic wellness to everyone around the world.
Lisa, what a journey you've been on. And it sounds to me like your accident just added an extra layer to your work and what you're doing now in helping people. Now, how did you become pain-free after being hit by this car? And what was the turning point in your recovery?
That's a great question. There was a major turning point, and it was really a rock bottom because I was on so much medication. The doctors were just prescribing me things, and I was just taking it. I didn't know much about prescription medication, but when you have any sort of injury, they want you out of pain, so they give it to you. But rarely will they also say, this has all of these side effects. They are addicting. And you need to be careful. Nobody is really holding your hand with that. And at one point I went back to my doctor and I said, I need some more medication. He goes, I can't give you more, and I was like, but I'm still in pain. He said, I'm sorry, I can't give you more. And I just thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to be in pain like this the rest of my life. I was only 27 years old. And I somehow, the truth is I really started thinking like maybe I should get these drugs illegally. And I closed the computer and I was like, this can't be me. This can't be my life. And again, something kind of just like came through me and I wrote down in the computer how to heal the body naturally. And it was like I was taken in this vortex of all these people and seminars and teachers that I was never taught when I was in school in learning in the gym or on nutrition about anti-inflammatory foods. And so then I started slowly changing my diet. I realized even in this industry, I was not drinking enough water. I was not eating enough vegetables. I was drinking Red Bulls and stuff to keep me energized in the gym. I was eating processed protein bars instead of just natural whole foods. And so I really focused on my diet and just my overall lifestyle. And I increased my water and I started eating more beans and lentils and whole grains and sweet potatoes and lots of vegetables. And through eating like that, I was just naturally eating less of the junk food. Yeah. And the arthritis that they had diagnosed me with just started going away. I was very sensitive in the beginning. I had to be very strict with it. But the longer I did it, my body just started to heal and all of my inflammation started going away. And I still have the titanium rod and the nails in my body, and I have no pain to this day, and I'm off all medication.
So what inspired you to develop the Verdura Method, and how does it differ from conventional wellness approaches?
What inspired me was that it is a luxury to get that private attention to your body, and the healthcare industry is unfortunately really lacking, not just here in the States, but I would say around the world, that people don't have enough access to the best healthcare. And I wanted to get just everything I know more into the hands of anyone around the world that's hurting, because I know what it feels like to wake up every day and for your body to just be hurting, to wake up every day and just feel in pain and have that really affect your mood, your life every day. And I want to do everything I can to just help people and to tell them, you don't have to feel that way. You can feel good. Let me show you. Let me bring you on my journey and help you feel so good and regain your life back.
What role did mindset play in your healing process? And how do you help others to cultivate a wellness mindset?
So I would say that, you can't force somebody to do it. They have to want to do it. And to answer your question, how it's different than other programs, really, it's Verdura Method really starts with the basics. I think that right now it's very confusing out there. There's a lot of different approaches, and I think it's putting people sort of into a freeze mode. And so for a lot of people, they're not taking steps in their health because they feel so overwhelmed with everything that's out there. And the Verdura Method I created is your jumping off point. I would hope to get my method into the hands of someone that is just starting from the beginning. That's what I'm actually trying to do, because it does feel so overwhelming. And if people just take the first steps, they can take my course, and it's so easy, and you could just absorb it and learn it before you even take the first step. But really also one of the first steps would be just walking and getting some fresh air, and that stuff is just as important as what you eat and what you're taking in.
So how can people manage chronic pain without relying on unnecessary medication?
Chronic pain is so challenging, and my heart goes out to anyone that is navigating it, because it really can feel like there is no choice but to take the medication, and it can feel really scary to get off of it, because it is really their only hope to get through each day. Increasing water is paramount, making sure that you're drinking enough water to hydrate the body, and getting in enough fruits and vegetables also brings in a level of hydration. And fruits and vegetables just have so many healing components, all those micronutrients. And so I would say just starting to eat more vegetables and vegetable-based meals and focusing on that to get in all those vitamins and minerals can really do more than people realize. It actually ends up being the most simple things that help us the most.
And I guess that's why they say that your food is medicine. And the more aware we are about what we're putting in, the more healing you receive, right?
That is exactly what it is. And that's what I learned myself. And, I was astonished by actually how simple it was. And I created this acronym, the SHINE, to shine, wake up every day and shine. It's actually just focusing on your sleep, your hydration, investing in your rest, your nutrition, and your exercise. And if you do those 5 things, it's so simple, but you wake up and you really feel like you can shine. And it's a very big difference than waking up every day in that pain that I know so well.
So what are some of the common misconceptions about pain management and wellness that you frequently encounter?
Probably that it's more complicated than it needs to be, that everyone needs like all these different supplements. I like to say exhaust all your basic options first before you go to the supplements, because if you're not drinking enough water, I know I've said water so many times, but it's really because so many people, it's really a lot of people just don't even drink water these days. Start with the basics. It's, the supplement industry is this billion-dollar industry, and they're still selling you a lot. And so I say one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can take all these pills and it'll get better, when in reality it won't. And in fact, even supplements have side effects, just like over-the-counter medication and prescription medications do.
What simple daily habits can people adopt to improve their well-being and prevent long-term health issues?
I would say if you take that acronym SHINE and you write down each of those: sleep, hydrate, invest in rest, nourishment, and exercise. And every day you write something down in there that you want to work on for each day. Maybe it's getting in the water first for hydrate. Maybe it's doing something restful. It's just taking one day at a time and seeing how can you move it just a little bit further in a direction that's going to help you. Something that I think about a lot is, what can I do today to help my future self tomorrow? I don't want to always go to the grocery store. I don't always want to clean the kitchen and do the dishes. But if I do try a new recipe once a week, it will propel my health and make me more prepared for the day and give me some food that I know nourishes my body. So a lot of times we have to do these things even if we don't want to do, but just one thing at a time.
Yeah, when you simplify it and you do one thing at a time, it becomes easy. I think people get into a sense of overwhelm when they try and do too many things. So what has been the most rewarding part of building your business in the wellness space?
Oh, I mean, watching my clients feel good in their body not like maybe they lost weight, sure, but just being like, thank you so much. Like, I feel so good because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Having clients cry to me, like, thank you so much, not just for me, but so now I can teach my daughter how to have a healthier relationship with food. I get a high from it. I love what I do. I was definitely meant to do this. And when I can make someone else's day better, I just know that they are off living their life and feeling good. And I mean, what's better than that? We don't need more miserable people in the world. We need more happier people so we can collectively continue helping each other, right? Happy people help one another.
Sure. How do you use storytelling
Oh,
in your work to inspire others on their health and healing journey?
I don't lead with my car accidents when I am with clients, but I bring it into the conversation when I think they're ready for it, and when they feel like I can read them, like they want to hear more, or they're ready to relate to someone, because sometimes it could be overwhelming or they're too in their own head to receive someone else's story. But as you get to know someone in their program and they're working through things, you can
Mhm.
create this connection, and then they get to know me finally, and they see me also as a person. And then when I finally share my story, they're like, I can't believe it. I would never have
Mhm.
guessed. You look, you don't look like this happened to you. And I said, I know. And you don't look like all of that happened to you either. And you can also be someone different than you have been. Our past doesn't mean that's going to stay with us forever. We can evolve continuously no matter how old we are.
Now, you've written several articles and contributed to wellness education. Do you have any plans to write a book?
I would love to one day.
Mm.
Absolutely. I would love to. I could talk about this. And the more that we can get wellness in the hands of people, just really simple, basic concepts to help them feel better, the better, right? I mean, that's the goal in life, is to help everyone achieve their highest self.
That's so true. Now, what's next for you and the Verdura Method? And are there any upcoming projects or explorations that you're excited about that are coming?
Right now, I'm in the beginning stages of the marketing with getting the course out there and meeting with people. I would love to do more talks. Your story is really one of the most inspiring to me, watching your TED Talk and seeing
Thank
everything
you.
you've accomplished. There's a writer named Studs Terkel who came out. He's from Chicago. He's from a different generation. Not many people my age even know about him, but his life work was really just talking to average Americans, and he would write books on it. Stuff like
Right.
that is really what I love, just connecting with people. So the more I could do that, the better, whether it's in the form of a book or more interviews or a TED Talk and retreats, all of that. I mean, your path, it's for a lot of us who feel that pull in
Now,
life.
I like to end my interviews with two very unusual questions, and they're a bit of a thought experiment. In the first, I'm going to teleport you back into the past to that young woman who got involved in a car accident, is trying to recover and get herself well. Just in case there's somebody who's listening to us right now, who's in the same position, if you could go back and give yourself three nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be?
That's a great question. I would say the first one would be um, that to know that life is, in the most literal sense, full of peaks and valleys. And right now, you're deep in a valley, and it's only a matter of time before you come out of it. You just have to want it. So you have to make that choice if you want to be out of that valley or not. The second thing I would tell her would be to think about who who does she want to be in the future. Think about her future self. And this is actually something I tell clients all the time. How do you want to be perceived or thought of or remembered? Because isn't that, I don't think that's often thought much about, like what your legacy is. And when you are in a struggle, like really dealing with something awful in your life, how we get through it can often be a true test of our character. And that can be our legacy. And so to think about how you want to leave your legacy when you are in the deepest of despair in your life. And to really think about that, because I think that would be how you can start to get out of that darkness, to really muster in the strength of who you are, to dig deep down to find the most courageous part of yourself. And the third part is probably to reach out to community and to make sure that whether they are already in your family or friend circle, or to find one, because there are a lot of communities that get formed through trauma, whether it's a car accident or any kind of trauma that you have endured. There's oftentimes support groups for that, because I also remember telling my parents when I had to move home and live with them for my car accident, find me someone who's been through this before, because I don't know how to navigate this. And I reached out to a stranger because I didn't know what I was doing, and to really utilize community, even if they are strangers. So those are the three nuggets that I would leave someone with.
Absolutely beautiful. The last question is futuristic this time. And I'm going to teleport you into the future. You know, you said earlier, do something that your future self will be proud of you for. Let's go and sit with a 90-year-old you. With science and technology and the way you're looking after yourself, I think you'll live to 120. But we're going to go and meet this older woman who is sitting in a rocking chair, maybe she's on a dance floor, and have a conversation with her. If I could teleport you to go and meet this wise woman who has led you up until this point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
To that wise woman, tell me everything. Tell me how you did it. Tell me how you did it. I'm sure you have stories. I would just ask to hear everything. If I was talking to me at that age, that's what I would say.
The reason why I like to ask women that question, Lisa, is that a lot of times we don't realize that the wise woman is already in us. She's that quiet voice that got you to get off that bed and walk every day and walk yourself to wellness. She's that quiet voice that said, there's so many people who need your help. Do something about this. Turn this into a business, right? But as women, we look outside of ourselves for answers, for solutions. We forget to go inside. We forget to go back within to find those answers. So I have a little game that I play. I like to say that I play with the energy of who I am becoming. And when I get stuck sometimes, I go into my meditation, my prayers, and I ask very simple questions like, what is the next step before I go to sleep? And I sleep on that. And I wake up in the morning, I'm in the shower sometimes, and I have these light bulb moments. I know exactly what the next thing should be for me to execute. Or I talk to people and tell them what I'm doing, what I'm working on, what help I need. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle. By the end of the week, one person gives me a piece of the puzzle, another one gives me another piece, and I've got it all figured out by the end of the week. So thank you for listening to your wise woman. She's going to be very proud of you when you finally meet her.
Thank you.
And I think she will say to you, thank you for taking care of this body for us. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yes, I think about myself as in those years all the time, and that's my inspiration, is older women that are forging the way for all of us in the younger generations. And I hope to be, one of those women that others look up to, and then they can pass the torch on and on.
Lisa, thank you so much for coming and sharing your inspiration with our community today. It's an absolute honor to have met you.
Thank you so much. And same to you. Such an honor. I really appreciate you taking the time.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to help take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. Now, Lisa has come today with a solution to anybody who is trying to recover from an illness, anyone who's trying to lose weight, anyone who's trying to do something about your health and wellness. You don't have to do it alone. There are people out there, experts, who have paved the way and are helping you to do it the easy way, not the hard way. So I have Lisa's website at the bottom of the screen. Please go online, look up her Verdura Method, contact her, and get the help and inspiration that you need. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.